Hello and welcome. My name is Dave Berger, and this is my 5-minute opinion. Episode 5, Banned Books of 1922 Reveal Century of Cancel Culture. Many iconic celebrities died in 2021, including Cicely Tyson, John Madden, Anne Rice, Michael K. Williams, Cloris Leachman, Ed Asner, Samuel E. Wright, Jessica Walter, Prince Philip, Hank Aaron, Stephen Sondheim, and Betty White. The oldest of these famous people was Betty White, who was only 17 days short of her 100th birthday when she died on December 31st, 2021. It is amazing to reflect on such a long and storied life and to contemplate the world she was born into compared to today. What was it like when Betty White was born in 1922? To get a sense of the spirit of those times, I reviewed the most popular literature of that year and discovered that literary modernism was the prevailing form of writing. Literary modernism was greatly influenced by industrialization and the Great War, now known as World War I. Most authors consciously broke with traditional writing and tried to reflect new ways of thinking in the world by using non-linear narratives and character monologues that focus more on the free-flowing of daily experiences and emotions of the individual. It was an attempt to understand the unsettling, massive technological and social changes of the early part of the 20th century. In particular, 1922 saw some stellar modernist literature, including One of Ours by Willa Cather, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1923, Ulysses by James Joyce, The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Babbitt by Sinclair Lewis, Jacob's Room by Virginia Woolf, The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams, England, My England by D.H. Lawrence, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, The Voyages of Dr. Dolittle by Hugh Lofting, The Secret Adversary by Agatha Christie, and the play Ball by Bertolt Brecht. While 1922 was definitely a Hall of Fame year for literature, it was also a year of literary controversy, with most of the books I just mentioned being banned at one time or another by school districts, local, state, or national governments, religious groups, and individual libraries. We think of cancel culture as something more modern, but it was, in fact, very prevalent in the birth year of Betty White. Take James Joyce's Ulysses, for example. First published in book form on Groundhog Day in 1922, the author's 40th birthday, it lays out one ordinary day in the lives of Leopold Bloom and his wife, Molly, and Stephen Dedalus, who all lived in Dublin, Ireland. Because of the scenes of sexual fantasy, Ulysses was labeled obscene and banned by the United States government and the government of the United Kingdom for more than 10 years. These two governments actually confiscated and burned over 1,000 copies of that book. Minnesotans are well represented on this list of 1922 literature that fell victim to cancel culture. F. Scott Fitzgerald, born in St. Paul in 1896, had his book Beautiful and the Damned banned by a number of entities because they found the lifestyle of his main character, Anthony Patch, unacceptable due to his immoral drinking and nightlife. Conversely, Sinclair Lewis, born in Sauk Center, Minnesota in 1885, had his book Babbitt banned because it poked fun at good, solid, middle-class values and was pro-communist, according to at least ultra-conservative groups. Calls for banning or revising books, films, television shows, and art because some audience members object to some of the material or the cast are definite examples of cancel culture. Betty White herself was no stranger to cancel culture pressures. During her early days on television in 1954, as host and producer of her own variety show, she featured Arthur Duncan, a very talented black tap dancer and singer. In 2018, on a PBS documentary, Duncan stated, quote, "I credit Betty White for really getting me started in show business and television," unquote. After Duncan's first appearance on The Betty White Show, there were threats that Southern television stations would no longer carry the show if it continued to feature a black person. In response to this racist pressure to kick Duncan off her show, White responded, quote, "I'm sorry, but he stays. Live with it." While Betty White is admired and loved for her talent, personality, and longevity, her refusal to go along with an immoral request from cancel culture makes her a very courageous person we all should emulate and remember. Thanks for joining me for episode 5 of my 5-minute opinion.